Hi, this is Wayne Belial with number two that I forgot to stick on there. Well, let's stick it up. All right, number two from our 35 QuickBooks 2013 tips and tricks. Setting up preferences. And why do you want to set up preferences? Well, it basically helps you customize the program to what you need, limits mistakes, speeds up entry, and customizes how you want QuickBooks to work. So let's look at it. Well, here's our sample company again, and where you get to preferences, you click on Edit. It's the very last item down here. Click on Preferences, and it opened on the other screen. So let's drag it over to this screen, and it starts with the desktop view. So let's go through this. On accounting, as you notice, on the left-hand side here is the different categories. All right. In each category, like right now I'm in accounting, you have my personal preferences and company preferences, two tabs that go across the top. Okay. So I can have autofill and a general journal entry. You basically go through some of the ones. Let's go over some. Require accounts. You should have that on there. Use an account number is totally up to you. I personally don't like it. Um, it's up to you. Classes. We'll talk about that later, but that tells something. I like to leave these warnings on, because one of the biggest problems that we had with QuickBooks is people would enter things. Since you don't close an area, it's very easy to just get something wrong. So instead of putting 2000 and 2013, you just put 213. It doesn't know, so it just puts things before this year. And unless you go look for it or have this warning popped up, and I've seen people, in a hurry, instead of 2013, they click 2113. So you got things that are too far in the past and things that are too far in the future. So this is worth, having on, if you ask me. Setting up, set a date password is something, probably don't want to do. Let your accountant talk to you about that. That's really if you want to make sure nobody touches a prior year. Clicking on bills, we're not going to record it right now. You can show under my preferences, there are none. Company preferences, bills, you can put the default of when normally the bills are due. This can always be overridden. Everything you do in preferences, understand, can be automatically overridden. Okay, automatically use credits I usually like to put on, and but these are up to you. And if you're not sure what they are, check with your accountant. Under your calendar, you can put remember your this is personal. You can put weekly view. You can decide on, fixed 5, fixed 7, variable, whatever. Show all transactions. You can show to-dos only. You can change it around. I personally say leave all transactions on. We'll talk about that later. Checking, got a lot of handy things here. If you have multiple bank accounts, and this one does, it doesn't, all right. But let's say we always paid our sales tax out of the savings account, then I could just change it. And what it does is it automatically opens by telling it this. If I go to write a check, it automatically opens this checking account. So this is very handy if you have more than one bank account. Oops, yes, got out of it. So we already know how to get in there. So we're just going to click here, preferences, there we go. Desktop view, one window, multiple windows, really doesn't matter. Save when closing, don't save the desktop. That'll speed up some things. Some things that help, if you notice, you can change the color scheme. So if you're working with multiple companies, it's a good idea to probably make each company a different color so that you can see what goes on. I'm curious what that pink is. Let's live without that one. Yellow, yeah, that's just almost as annoying. So we're just going to cancel and leave this one. It's not the default, by the way. And there I go again, getting us out of it. So you'll get really good at it. Finance charges, if you charge finance charge, this is how you straighten this out. General, whether or not, time format, whether it's going to be decimal or minutes. Most people are used to the minutes, so leave that alone. Show the 4 years, you can decide. Preferences, I personally like this one. Pressing enter moves between the fields, but it's up to you entirely. Beep when recording, if that annoys you, can turn it off. Automatically place decimal points, you can do that if you want. So these are things that you do yourself. Okay, integrated applications are for this has the sync manager, financial statements, some things we have here. Inventory, if you're dealing with inventory and purchase orders, this is how you turn it on right there. I had that question today. How do I don't see purchase orders. Why not? Well, go to your preferences and turn it on. That's why. You can also set quantities available, so you can set up an automatic reorder point. You can warn if there's not when inventory I want to sell exceeds quantity on hand or quantity available. You got some things here. Get with your accountant if you're doing this. Jobs and estimate, if you're doing jobs, this is just basically whether you use the estimates or not. This is how you turn it on, and whether you use process billing or not, and then you can create your own categories and what you call it. If you're doing multiple currencies, it handles it. Most people I deal with don't, but if you do, remember it has here, and just click on the help and it'll tell you what you need. Every one of these sections has a help feature that you can use, and it talks about, type in your question. It's interactive. If you see, since I'm in this area, I'm in currencies, it brought stuff up to do with currencies and the common questions that are there. So don't be afraid to use this help feature. Payments, this is invoice payments from customers. And if you're doing online payments, this is where you set them up. Payroll employees, no, I don't want to do that. You can do full payroll, no payroll, online payroll, pay stub, set preferences for different items. So I can click here and it tells me, you can see, payroll printing, what prints with what, workers' compensation, if whether I do it or not, sick and vacation. So I can set up a lot of preferences here. There really is no personal preferences. Reminders are pretty handy, and you can decide what you get reminded of. And truthfully, you can have, by clicking here, you can have show reminders when the company file is opened, and then say what you want to have it remind you of, which is handy. Reports and graphs. This is how you change from accrual to cash. Now remember, you can always run either one. What this tells the system is which one it's going to open automatically. Okay, you can decide what to put on there, name and description, or just the name. Show accounts by name only, description only. There's all kinds of things you can put here. Statement of cash flow. You can assign things to a cash flow statement. So there's a lot you can do. Sales by customer. You can have a normal shipping method. FOB. There's a lot of stuff in here about how you want to do the standard shipping statement. So this is if you're really if you're doing inventory in your shipping. Sales tax. You can put in the states that you have and set up where you're likely to be. I'd get some help on this unless you know what you're doing. Cookbooks updates search information frequently, so changes can appear in search results. You can decide how often. And what this literally does is interrupts you now and then. It's not as bad with the newer computers, so I wouldn't lose sleep too much. You can send forms through Outlook, webmail, QuickBooks, email. You get your own. If you're going to send emails, this is what you want to look at and decide how you want to work it. You can have your invoices, with your defaults. Service connection, online stuff basically, and download Web Connect and things like that. So if you're not doing it, don't worry about it. Spelling, see, you still got more here by dragging this. Spelling, kind of put some things in here, and if you have some custom words that you use and you want it to not try to correct it, you just put it in here. And you can capitalize the first letter, you can do all uppercase letters, whatever you want to do. 1099, you can put whether you do them or not, and then you can start mapping them. We'll talk about that some other time. Time and expenses. You can create stuff here basically on how you're doing your tracking your time and expenses, and this is for billing more than anything else. What's the first day of the week? Create an invoice from a list of time and expenses, track reimbursable expenses. This is like things that you're going to bill your customer. All right, don't go crazy on this. If you need it though, get some help probably. And until next time, that was tip number 2. Thank you very much.